Hello and welcome to Ask the Candidate. I'm Steve Kime with the City of Enid. We are joined today with Cathy Costello. Cathy is the widow of former Oklahoma Labor Commissioner Mark Costello, and Cathy is running for Labor Commissioner in 2018.
Yes.
Cathy, welcome to the Enid Television Network studio. Welcome to Enid, Oklahoma.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here. Not my first visit, won't be my last, but I'm delighted to be here with you this morning.
Well, thanks for being with us today. Right off the bat, if folks are not familiar with what the Labor Commissioner is all about,
right?
What would you tell folks?
Well,
they've heard of the title, I know.
Right. It's actually a very important office because the Labor Commissioner is the only advocate for the wage earner and the employers in the state of Oklahoma, and the Labor Commissioner is commanded to follow the constitutional duties under Title 40, and there's 4 basic articles. The Labor Commissioner is asked to foster, promote, and develop the welfare of the wage earner, to keep the wage earner safe in the workplace, to carry out all of the laws that the legislature puts before them. But my favorite one is to advance opportunities for profitable employment. We need profit really for 2 reasons. We have temporal needs. We need to have food, clothing, shelter. When you work, you earn profits, you earn something called money. It's the tool that takes care of your temporal needs. If you're an employer, you in turn help others provide for their temporal needs. But the state of Oklahoma has a motto, labor conquers all. And I believe that labor brings dignity, work brings dignity to who we are as human beings, no matter what stage in life you're in. So I have a deep understanding of this, having been a businesswoman for 40 years and working since I was 15 years old. The dignity of work, it's the natural law. We're created to be productive.
Well, you've done a great job explaining what the Labor Commissioner does for the folks, as I call them here in Oklahoma, the working class, if you will. So why do you want to be the Labor Commissioner? Why do you want that role?
I have a great love for my Oklahoma neighbors. I experienced a tragedy a few years ago, and you begin to look at things a little differently. The gift of life, the gift of time, and the gift of opportunity. I have a great desire to shed a light on mental health in the workforce, which is, the statistics are shocking and overwhelming. The way mental health impacts our state in the workplace, not only socially and culturally and emotionally, but also economically. I'm a former educator. I've taught school in Texas and Oklahoma, raised 5 children myself, have 2 that are still going through college. It is important that we develop a strong workforce, and that can come through education and closing the skills gap, especially through STEM education, not only for college-bound kids, but for those kids that have talents to work in a skilled labor force. We have some great VOTECs here. Francis Tuttle, for 15 years in a row, has rated in the top 5 VOTECs. And then I have a desire to keep people safe in the workplace because we have a lower than average loss of life than the national average, but we still lose about 90 people a year on the job. Many people do not know that. I actually attended a memorial service at the Capitol last week for 90 lives lost here in Oklahoma, and I know all too well that 1 life is too many. So a proactive labor commissioner needs to be studying injuries in the workplace through workers' compensation and doing everything she can do to alleviate injuries and keep people safe.
I think you've already touched on the answer for my next question. Being a mom,
yes,
educator,
yes,
business owner, if you will.
Yes.
What other qualities could you share with us that says, yep, this qualifies me to be Labor Commissioner?
I think
being the full-time mom's enough,
right? Right. Well, my youngest is entering his freshman year of college in the fall, that's my youngest. So I don't have little ones at home anymore. But if you're a parent, they still need you no matter what stage of life. But I think my business experience is very important in that I think the Labor Commissioner in the state of Oklahoma can be a more well-rounded, proactive labor commissioner if they have had that experience of signing the front and the back of a paycheck, understanding the struggles, the challenges of trying to get a business on its feet, having to reach into my own pocket to make payroll. We had years like that. So I have a sensitivity to that. I think I will be a user-friendly labor commissioner to help business flourish. I also have leadership ability. And to touch on that, how am I a leader? I've never been a politician before. I've never run for office. But I made a decision 10 weeks after my husband's death that I wanted to make sure that no other Oklahoman ever went through the tragedy and the heartache that we had. So I was testifying before a Senate hearing committee at the Capitol, and I was instrumental in passing a very landmark piece of legislation that had died in committee for people in an ongoing mental health crisis here in Oklahoma. It's called the Labor Commissioner Mark Costello Assisted Outpatient Treatment Bill. It's a tremendous program that I studied best practices in New York, New Jersey, Ohio, counties in California, and we discovered that someone who is deteriorating, who meets certain criteria, we can have a judge and a healthcare professional come together and extend almost like an olive branch to get you on a 12-month treatment program. The result is tremendous drop in suicides, homelessness, in and out of incarceration, and it lifts the burden off of police officers who are and first responders who are constantly dealing with people with mental illness on the street. From there, I went to DC in June of 2016, and I became involved with another major mental health bill, which was the result of the Sandy Hook massacre. It's called the Helping Families in Mental Health Crisis Act, and our family's presence and talking with lawmakers there actually got a bill that had also died the same 3 years in committee passed, and I've become a state and national mental health advocate and educator, and I work across the aisles. I've had tremendous visits with Donald Trump and Patrick Kennedy, and I think that shows I can work with both sides of the aisle. So even though I've not been a legislator, I've really impacted some major legislation, I believe, with leadership and courage. So I think you have to have leadership ability. I think you have to have experience. And you can't forget the fact that my husband, Mark Costello, served for almost 5 years. And I had a unique exposure to all the duties, of which I haven't even listed yet. But we discuss these on a daily basis. We discuss the challenges, solutions, what would be best for Oklahomans, what will make life more efficient, opportunities for jobs more efficient, lifting barriers to employment. And I would probably say I may know more right now than he did his first day on the job because of that unique exposure.
You've touched on quite a bit in regard to mental illness. Do you
Yes, sir.
feel like it's been a workplace issue that has been
Yes.
maybe just ignored or maybe just kept to the side, or finally in 2018 it's brought to light? What is your thought on why today is this mental illness issue and labor coexist?
Well, it's something that Mark and I were actually beginning to speak about.
Okay.
Our son had been diagnosed with schizophrenia. This is not a big secret. He'd suffered for 10 years. We were very quiet about it. We were part of the stigma. We didn't want people to know we had a son with mental illness. We were concerned how that might impact us even in the political world. But when we began to get support, go to support groups, began to talk with people, legislators, people at agencies, and then we lost Mark in such a public and tragic way, people opened up to me. And that was such a wake-up call for me. So here's the reality here in the state of Oklahoma. We have 1 in 4 Oklahomans that suffers with a mental health issue. We are the second worst state in the nation. Mental health is a labor issue, and I will tell you why. According to the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services, the #1 reason for low productivity in the workplace is due to mental health issues. It's the second leading reason for absenteeism, missing work. It accounts for 30% of disability costs. And there's the economic impact. Employers actually spend in the state each year an additional $600 million on claims related to mental health. In 2 years, the #1 reason for disability claims in the state of Oklahoma is it's projected to be because of mental health issues, not injuries on the job. So under my administration, I'm going to spearhead a task force called the Costello Commission on Mental Health in the Workplace. I'm already talking with police chiefs, firemen, leaders in mental health professionals, human resource people, to bring together a task force. You know, a task force doesn't cost money. It's like a think tank where we can study and discuss how we can bring to light making our workers healthier. You have to be healthy in both mind and body, because a healthy workforce is a productive workforce. So it is an important issue, and I think perhaps with what happened in our family, it did open up more conversation about this.
Sure. Well, let's change topics a little bit.
Sir.
Well, let's move to education. And
Yes.
of course, being in Oklahoma, education has garnered a lot of attention
Yes.
across the state, especially in Oklahoma City, but across
Yes.
the state. As Labor Commissioner, how would you tie the two together as Labor Commissioner and the importance of education?
The importance of education is tremendous. We've got to have an educated workforce, but that can mean a couple different things. It can mean we have kids who want to go to college, pursue their degrees, maybe a master's degree, and we want to encourage that. But again, having 5 children, I know that no 2 children are created equal, and there are kids that have great talents in other areas that are interested in a skilled labor workforce. Look, we have about 7 million jobs in the United States that are screaming for kids with coming out of school with good STEM education, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. This area of STEM education, we've got to close the skills gap. We want good jobs and companies coming to Oklahoma. If our kids have good STEM education, they'll be coming here. We want to keep our kids here. We don't want them leaving Oklahoma. So as a labor commissioner, I would like to partner the Department of Commerce with industry and employees and employers to come into the schools and talk to kids and let them know that there are a lot of different options. There was a time in the state where people were only promoting college degrees, and I think it's wonderful. I encourage all of my kids to get a college degree, but there's some very good paying jobs out there in the skilled workforce, so we've got to close the skills gap, and I want to be involved with that because I'm promoting and fostering and developing the workforce. So the labor commissioner should not only be protecting the workforce of today, the labor commissioner should be cultivating the workforce of tomorrow.
There was a national group, Cathy, that kind of did some research, or I guess you'd call it research. I'll use the term loosely, research. But as it was looking at different states across the nation, looked at Oklahoma and had given it an F in regards to safety.
Yes.
And the question is not necessarily for you to address that grade, but as labor commissioner, what would you do to enhance maybe the grade, but what would you do to enhance safety in the workplace?
So I believe that a proactive labor commissioner should be really studying the workers' compensation and seeing if there are any red flags of a company that may be having more than higher incidents of injury. The Department of Labor offers a program called Safety Pays. It's a consultation program. It's voluntary for businesses. Many businesses may be unaware of it. If you bring your business in, there's no expense to the employer or the employee. We can help train your people on safety. Let's say you're dealing with dangerous chemicals or dangerous equipment. We want to keep those injuries low so you can keep your workers' comp rates low. A proactive labor commissioner should be user-friendly and knocking on people's doors and not chiding them if they're having higher than usual injuries, but say, hey, I want to invite you in. Here's an opportunity to educate your company so you can all be safe and making money and being prosperous, and that's what we want. So that's something I'm really going to focus on, and that workplace safety. And it's going to take some work and some study, and I'll have to be diligent, but I think that's important.
You've been very thorough in our questions that we have, but I'd like to give you an opportunity to speak to the camera there with the red light on here in just a few moments. Okay. But just give you the opportunity, Cathy, to speak to the viewers and just share what's on your heart as you run for labor commissioner. You're welcome.
I appreciate the opportunity. Well, I would ask all Oklahomans to consider voting for me on June 26th in the primary. I'm the Republican candidate for labor commissioner. I have the expertise, the knowledge, the leadership, and the passion to serve as your labor commissioner. I believe that if you don't have passion to serve in public office, you won't be effective, but I believe that's true of any area of your life. I would be honored for your vote. I will work hard. I am not a career politician, but I am a citizen who loves Oklahoma and cares about our workforce, and I appreciate your vote on June 26th. And I thank you so much for having me today.
You're welcome. Cathy Costello,
Thank
welcome
you.
Again to Enid.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for stopping by the
Always love being
Enid
here.
Television Network studios, and we wish you well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And thank you for watching us today or viewing us today here on Ask the Candidate. And we just appreciate the opportunity to be in your home to share the important issues and also all the election activities for 2018. It's a busy time in the state of Oklahoma. I'm Steve Kime with the City of Enid. Thank you again for joining us today. Until next time, make it a great day.